those of us who do want to call ourselves being part of the solution against racism on this planet, I've got a simple test that will determine your loyalty and expose which side you're really on. If you have to make a choice between the survival of the African collective and the survival of the European collective, which side do you choose? Now, most white people who are hearing this right now are in the process, if you haven't already come up with an answer, you're in the process of coming up with some sort of rebuttal to indicate that you don't have to choose sides, that you're for everyone. Well, if you're for everyone, then you're not for black people first. You're for creating a solution that's going to ensure your own survival. Unless you're dedicating your life to making sure that every black person on this planet survives. And unless you're putting yourself in front of the bullet when cops are shooting innocent black and brown people, unless you're in Africa working against the genocides that are all perpetuated by European economic imperialism, you're not doing anything to protect black folks. And you can't conceive of a solution that doesn't involve the survival of white people. It's not that I want one group to survive over another. And if you really understood the way that African and indigenous people get down and have always gotten down on this planet, they've never been about killing other groups of people. They've never even been about taking revenge on us for all the hundreds of millions of people that we've killed. But at some point, if you had to make that choice, 99.9999999% of you would never choose any solution that could possibly lead to you or your family not surviving this. White liberals will only support a solution to the problem that involves the survival of white people, and not just physically, financially. How many of you are willing to dedicate your entire life to ending racism? When you get an inheritance based on the opportunities that your grandparents had or your great-grandparents had, or the murders that your ancestors committed, the land that they stole, the labor that they stole that they never repaid back, Wall Street that was built on the back. In fact, the entire economic foundations of the European collective that was built on the back of enslaving and exploiting everyone else on the planet, that allowed you to receive that inheritance. Are you willing to share that money? Or do you feel you don't owe it because you're not a racist? Let me tell you something. White supremacy is not even about racism anymore. White supremacy is about power. It's about control. It's about money. It's ownership of resources. And yeah, sure, a lot of us are racist. There's a lot of white people who hate black people. There's a lot of white people who fear black people. Most of us do. But at the end of the day, we could all love black people. We could have black friends. We could, all of that. But are you willing to give up your money? The stolen money? The money that your family stole? You could unlearn all of your unconscious biases as much as you can. You can learn how to treat black people with respect in the office. You can go to protests. You can do all of that, but unless you're willing to part with the resources that were stolen from African people, from indigenous people on this planet, then you're holding on to stolen property, and therefore you are part of the white collective. You are part of the white supremacist pan-European collective. And it's time that we stop lying about this shit.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakwa Kodash. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone. And peace and salutations to y'all brothers out there in the highways and byways that's noising this road abroad, all around the world. Now, what you just saw here was just, Esau really, spilling his guts, through the true nature on how this country was founded, like the background and the history of this country on how it was founded and how it was established, It was established through rape, rob, and murder, ever since they first got to this land, which the Native American Indians, inhabited, you know. The way he got the land, he didn't get it through buying it or trading, goods, to receive the land, He stole the land. He took it by the force of the sword, He raped and he robbed and he murdered the indigenous people that was of this land, which consists of, you Israelites, which is the tribe of Gad and the tribe of Issachar, and the tribe of Reuben, that was dwelling here, He stole the land from us, And now, right now, the Most High, right now, He's shaking the foundations of this of America now. America's being shaken, everywhere you turn, The foundations of America is being shaken, The society is breaking down, more morally, economically, physically, you name it, Because right now the truth is coming out, Not through, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and the elders, apostles on down, It's not only us that is coming out, like telling the truth and bringing the truth out, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai on how this country was founded, through the blood of our people, and how it was established through the blood, sweat, and tears of our people, on how it was built up, And ultimately, the so-called white man, who is Esau, he didn't give us reparations for all the pain and all the hurt, and all that we had to go through, We are the only nation on this planet that hasn't received reparations for our, the atrocities that were committed against us. We're the only nation of people on this planet that hasn't received any kind of reparations or any kind of help from any other nation, from all the rape, the rob, and the murder that we had to go through, that we had to endure, But right now, what you have right now, you have Esau coming against Esau, You have Edomites, coming against Edomites. And I got a scripture for that. And this is the book of Luke, chapter 11, verse 18. It says, "If Satan also be divided against himself, how shall his kingdom stand? Because ye that I cast out devils through Beelzebub, paraphrasing. So, at the end of the day, if Satan be divided against Satan, well, let me start at verse 17. But he knoweth their thoughts, said unto them, Every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and a house divided against itself falleth." You see? Every house that is divided every kingdom that is divided against itself is brought to desolation. Now you see that in America, because over here in America, you got Esau being divided against himself, being divided against his own, and they're going as far as coming up against you devils, well, they're going as far as coming against each other, by telling the truth and by spilling the beans, on how this country was really founded, on how this country was established, through the rape, rob, and murder, you know. So that's how you know that the foundations of America is being shaken. And for those of you Israelites, you know, that are out there teaching that, you know, that this society ain't gonna never be destroyed, you know, you're out your fucking damn mind, you know, excuse my French, but you're out your mind, you know. You're just totally gone, you know, you're just gone in the abyss, you know. You just have no clue to what's about to happen to the society. You have no clue that Russia and all these other nations are gearing up for war and getting ready to shoot missiles upon America, you know. You just totally clueless. Because here in America, you have, you know, other Edomites coming up against themselves, you know, through the rape and rob and murder, you know, of this land. And the clip that I just showed you is a testament, you know, because ultimately Esau ain't going to give back to us. He's not going to give the land back, you know, to the Gadites, you know, that he stole the land from, you know. He's not going to give the land back, you know. Why? Because, you know, by him giving the land back and giving everything back that he's stolen, you know, pretty much he's giving up his inheritance, you know, his livelihood, and the way he the way he makes his money is being, you know, taken from him, you know. He's not going to be able to make his money, or pretty much he's not going to be able to live, period, you know, if he was to do that, you know. So ultimately he's not going to do that, you know, because it's just not in him to do it anyway, because he's the wicked of the earth, you know. Just like it's not in him to tell the truth, you know. That's why you got other Edomites that are raising up against those that are in power, the elites, you know, coming up against them, you know, by bringing out the truth, you know. The only way, you know, you could fight this devil right now is to bring out the truth against him, you know. It's with this truth. And that's what these Edomites are doing, you know, when they coming up against each other, you know. I mean, the lower class peon Edomites, you know, because they're bringing out the truth on how this kingdom was established, and that's how a kingdom is brought to desolation, you know, because pretty much the society is based upon lies, you know. Everything in America is based upon lies, you know. Everything, the foundation of America is just a total lie, you know. The foundation of America has just been built upon lies after lies after lies, you know. Now when these Edomites come and tell the truth on how this society is, you know, been established, you know, that's a big dent in the so-called white man's kingdom, you know. That's a big blow to the so-called white man's power structure, you know. Because the more these Edomites come up against each other, the more and more that this society is being brought to desolation. And ultimately, it's being brought to desolation because, you know, the men of the Lord are out there on the highways and byways, you know, the men of GMS, you know, through the elder apostles on down, you know, and all around the world, because you got camps all around the world teach, you know, prophesying the downfall of America, you know. So, and then you got these other Edomites, you know, just bringing out the truth. Now, these Edomites, they're getting scared. These elites are getting scared shitless, because that's a big blow, and that's a big major damage to their kingdom and to their power structure, you know, when they got their own even coming up against them, bringing out this truth, you know, bringing out the truth on them, you know. And that's going back to the book of Psalms, you know, 64:4, you know, that they should make their own tongues to fall upon themselves. And let me get that real quick. So this is the book of Psalms, chapter 64, verse 8. And it says, So they shall make their own tongues to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee, So that's Esau, making their own tongues to fall upon themselves. And it also say in the scriptures that they shall complain of an ungodly father, That ungodly father is Esau, because he's just the wicked of the earth, He's even so wicked that he even has his own people in slavery, He even has his own people, in bondage. He doesn't want to share, the piece of the pie with his own people, Because ultimately there should not be no poor Edomite in this kingdom, Every Edomite should be able to be living it up and living it good, Because at the end of the day, this is their kingdom. This is their inheritance, And when you got Esau having their own people in slavery, this is the result, They start coming up against them with the truth, And with how this country was really established, But at the end of the day, they're going to be a two-time loser in the kingdom because they were supposed to live it up here. And, you got these elites, they're not even looking out for their own people, looking out for their own brothers, Am I my brother's keeper, But with Jake, But we as Israelites, even though we're in this captivity, in this low state, those that get a little something in this kingdom, that get some money or whatever, Esau gives them that big break, they get that big record deal or whatever. You see Jake, showing compassion and feeding his own people, even in the home, when they're homeless, because that's how much of a compassionate people that we are. But you Edomites, you devils, y'all have no compassion, You don't even care about your own, And that's how a kingdom is brought to desolation, when a kingdom is divided against itself, Just like it says, in the book of Matthew, it says the same thing. If Satan cast out Satan, how shall his kingdom stand, And ultimately, a kingdom can't stand if it's being divided against itself. Even in the political realm, Even you got these politicians, with the president, DJ Trump, He's over here threatening that if if the Republicans loses the midterm, that, economic woes is coming, That's a kingdom being divided against itself, That's a proud devil right there, That's a kingdom being divided against itself. So pretty much we in this last days, where things are just heating up, Things are on fire right now. That pot is just about boiling right now, It's about to, just overflow, That's how hot and that's how tense the times are that we're living in now, That's how hot the times and how tense, the times which we're living in, Because we're living in the time of Esau being brought down and being put in slavery, through our Lord who is Yahushua. And World War III, Because all these other nations, they're getting ready for war. They're preparing. They're on high alert, The Russian government is on high alert. It's on red alert, They're on high alert, So at any moment now, World War III could just pop off, We could be in World War III, Any minute now. Because all these sanctions and all this bullshit that America's doing all around the world, pretty much they're pissing, these other nations off. Where as far as that they're just doing away with the U.S. currency, The U.S. currency is not the world currency no more, The U.S. currency, the U.S. dollar is in the shithole. It's going down the shitter, So America's power is not what it was, back in World War I, That whole power structure that America has is just going down the toilet, and it's never coming back, And ultimately, what's going to finish this society off is just thermonuclear missiles, That's going to be the final destination of America, when them thermonuclear missiles come and hit this place. That's America's final destination, And we're just right around the corner. And it's only a matter of time before this whole thing pops off. And you're seeing the foundations of America being shaken. Now you got other Edomites coming up against their own, you know? That should tell you that this kingdom doesn't have any much longer to sustain itself. But yet you got our people just still sleeping, you know? Still playing games, you know? Don't want to take this word seriously. But you know what's going to happen? Their destiny is total annihilation, right along with the society, you know? So with that, you know, I just wanted to bring that out. And I'm going to say shalom to all the elect brothers that are out there on the highways and byways. Shalom.